Continuing what I had in the last video, we were solving quadratic equations for x. In this example here, I'll have a number that's not on the same side as everything else. The only difference for this is that the first step would be you need to move that number to the left of the equation. So x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. I subtracted 12 from the right, now it's on the left, and there's 0 terms on the right. We'll factor. A times c goes on the top, so 1 times negative 12 to make negative 12 on top. B on the bottom, which is negative 4. Something that multiplies to be negative 12. 3 and 4. Okay, so those could multiply to be negative 12, but there's no way that 3 and a 4 can combine to make a negative 4. So I need to pick something different. 6 and 2. 6 times 2 makes 12, but to make it a negative 12, let's make the 6 negative. Negative 6 times 2 makes negative 12. Negative 6 plus 2 makes negative 4. So this is what we want. Divide by a. Set these into parentheses. X minus 6, x plus 2 is equal to, well, this was that part. So then on the right side of this equal sign is going to be the 0. So now I have two things that multiply together. The x minus 6 times x plus 2 is going to make 0. So we look at those individually. X minus 6 is equal to 0, or x plus 2 is equal to 0. If x minus 6 is equal to 0, then x needs to be 6. If x plus 2 is equal to 0, then x needs to be negative 2. All I'm doing is I'm moving the 2 to the other side of the equation and changing the sign. So these are my two answers. We could check them, but since I know I didn't make any mistakes, those are it. So x is equal to 6, and x is equal to negative 2. One example done. Next example. What if there is no constant term, like x squared plus 3x equals 0? Well, here, I don't have a third term to move to the left. I don't have anything to add or subtract to bring over here. So what we can do is, well, to make this super easy, we can label the ABCs. A equals 1, B equals 3, C equals 0. I don't have any constant term there, so it's 0. I'll do my factoring chart. 1 times 0. 1 times 0 makes 0. And then a 3 on the bottom. What is something that multiplies to be 0 and adds to be 3? Well, 0 times anything makes 0, and if I need something to add to 0 to make 3, then that's going to be the number 3. We'll divide by 1. And then my factors are x plus 0, x plus 3, and these together multiply to be 0, because that's what we had at the start. The equation was equal to 0 at the start, so it's still equal to 0. X plus 0 is just x, and x plus 3 is a good factor. So I'm going to take these two things and individually set them equal to 0. So I already have my answer right here. X is equal to 0. I have one step, which would be to subtract this 3 to get x equals negative 3. That means my two answers are x equals 0 or x is equal to negative 3.